Have you ever found yourself sitting by the window, watching the world go by, and wondering where all the years have gone? Maybe you've noticed that some days feel lighter than others, while other days seem to drag on without much joy. If that sounds familiar, don't worry, you're not alone. Many of us, as we grow older, start to notice how life shifts in subtle ways. The hustle and bustle of youth give way to quieter moments, and sometimes it's easy to let those moments slip by unnoticed. But here's the thing, happiness doesn't stop just because we age. In fact, this is one of the best times to rediscover what truly brings joy into our lives. Today, I want to talk about finding happiness in everyday moments as we age. It's something we can all do, no matter where we are in life. You don't need grand gestures or big changes to feel more content. Sometimes, it's the smallest things that make the biggest difference. Over the next few minutes, we'll explore simple habits and practices that can help you embrace the beauty of each day. These aren't complicated or time-consuming. They're practical ideas you can start using right away. My hope is that by the end of this video, you'll feel inspired to look at your daily routine with fresh eyes and find new reasons to smile. Let's start with something we often take for granted, gratitude. Now, I know what you might be thinking, gratitude? Isn't that just a buzzword these days? Well, hear me out. Gratitude isn't just a trendy concept. It's a powerful tool for shifting how we see the world around us. Think about it. When was the last time you paused to appreciate the little things? Maybe it was the warmth of the sun on your face during an early morning walk, or the way your favorite song came on the radio at just the right moment. Those small, fleeting experiences add up, but only if we notice them. One way to practice gratitude is to keep a simple journal. Don't worry, it doesn't have to be fancy or long. Just jot down 3 things you're thankful for every day. They could be as simple as a good cup of coffee or a phone call from my granddaughter. The act of writing them down helps cement those positive feelings in your mind. And over time, you'll start noticing more and more things to be grateful for. It's like training your brain to focus on the good stuff instead of dwelling on what's missing. Plus, studies show that people who regularly practice gratitude tend to feel happier and more satisfied with their lives. So why not give it a try? Another way to bring more joy into your days is through connection. As we get older, it's easy to fall into routines that leave us feeling isolated. Maybe your kids live far away, or old friends have moved on. That sense of loneliness can creep in before we even realize it. But here's the good news. Connection doesn't always mean having deep conversations or spending hours together. Sometimes, it's the brief interactions that brighten our day. A friendly chat with the cashier at the grocery store, a wave to your neighbor across the street, or even a kind comment to someone online. All of these count as connections. I remember hearing a story about a woman named Margaret who started volunteering at her local library after retirement. She wasn't looking for anything specific, just a way to fill her time. But what she found was so much more. Every week, she'd help children pick out books, share stories with fellow volunteers, and laugh over silly jokes. Those small moments of connection became highlights of her week. And guess what? She told me she hadn't felt this happy in years. Connection doesn't have to be elaborate. It just has to be genuine. Now that we've talked about gratitude and connection, let's move on to another important piece of the puzzle, mindfulness. Being present in the moment is something we hear a lot about, but it's especially valuable as we age. After all, life moves quickly, and if we're not careful, we can miss the beauty of what's happening right now. Let's dive into how mindfulness works and why it matters so much. Mindfulness might sound like one of those buzzwords you hear tossed around in wellness circles, but trust me, it's far more accessible than it seems. At its core, mindfulness is simply about paying attention, really paying attention, to the present moment without judgment. It's not about meditation cushions or hours of silent contemplation, though those can help if that's your thing. Instead, it's about tuning into what's happening right here, right now. And let me tell you, this practice can transform even the most ordinary moments into something extraordinary. Let's say you're sitting outside on a sunny afternoon with a cup of tea. How often do we actually experience that moment? More likely, our minds are racing, thinking about errands we need to run, replaying conversations from earlier, or worrying about tomorrow's schedule. But what if, instead, you took a deep breath and focused on the warmth of the sun on your skin, the aroma of the tea rising from your cup, or the gentle rustle of leaves in the breeze? Those tiny details, when noticed, have a way of grounding us and filling us with a quiet kind of joy. Mindfulness isn't about changing anything. It's about noticing what's already there. One simple way to bring mindfulness into your daily life is through your senses. Try this exercise. Pick one activity you do every day, maybe brushing your teeth, washing dishes, or walking to the mailbox, and focus on engaging all 5 senses during that time. What does the toothpaste taste like? How does the water feel on your hands as you rinse a plate? Can you hear birds chirping while you walk? By slowing down and truly experiencing these moments, you'll find that even mundane tasks can become surprisingly fulfilling. It's like giving yourself permission to savor life's little pleasures. Now let's talk about movement. As we age, staying active becomes both more challenging and more important. I'm not talking about signing up for marathons or hitting the gym 5 days a week. That's not realistic for everyone, nor should it be. What I am suggesting is finding ways to move your body that feel good and bring you joy. Movement doesn't just benefit your physical health, it also boosts your mood, sharpens your mind, and helps you connect with the world around you. Whether it's dancing in your living room to your favorite oldies playlist, taking a leisurely stroll through the park, or practicing gentle stretches in the morning, moving your body can be a source things. Take my friend Alice, for example. She used to dread exercise because she thought it had to be intense and exhausting to count. Then one day, she decided to try gardening again, a hobby she'd loved years ago but set aside when life got busy. Digging in the soil, planting flowers, and watching them grow gave her a renewed sense of purpose. Not only did she enjoy the physical act of working in the garden, but she also found herself looking forward to seeing the progress each week. Her energy levels improved, her stress melted away, and she felt happier overall. The lesson here? Movement doesn't have to look a certain way to make a difference. Find what feels good for you, and let that guide you. Speaking of hobbies, they're another wonderful way to infuse your days with joy and meaning. Hobbies give us something to look forward to, a chance to learn new skills, and an opportunity to express ourselves creatively. And guess what? It's never too late to start something new or revisit an old passion. Maybe you used to love painting, knitting, or playing the piano, but life got in the way. Or perhaps there's always been something you've wanted to try, like photography, bird watching, or cooking international cuisine. Whatever sparks your interest, give yourself permission to explore it. Hobbies aren't just fun, they're also incredibly beneficial for mental and emotional well-being. They provide a sense of accomplishment, distract us from worries, and often lead to meeting like-minded people. Plus, having a creative outlet can be incredibly therapeutic. Think about how satisfying it feels to finish a project or create something beautiful with your own hands. That sense of pride and fulfillment is priceless, and it's something we can cultivate at any age. As we wrap up these thoughts on mindfulness, movement, and hobbies, I want to introduce one final idea that ties everything together: reflection. Taking time to reflect on your experiences, emotions, and achievements can deepen your appreciation for the life you've built. Reflection allows you to celebrate your journey, acknowledge your resilience, and recognize the wisdom you've gained along the way. Let's talk about how to incorporate reflection into your routine and why it's such a powerful tool for happiness. Reflection might not be something we instinctively prioritize in our busy lives, but it's one of the most valuable practices for cultivating happiness as we age. It's about pausing to look back, not with regret or longing, but with gratitude and understanding. When we reflect, we give ourselves permission to honor where we've been, celebrate how far we've come, and remind ourselves of the strength and resilience that carried us through life's challenges. And here's the best part: reflection doesn't require hours of journaling or deep introspection. It can happen in quiet moments throughout your day, often without you even realizing it. Let me share a personal story. A few years ago, I started keeping what I call a memory jar. It's just a simple glass jar on my kitchen counter, along with a stack of small pieces of paper and a pen. Whenever something good happens, a phone call from an old friend, a particularly beautiful sunset, or even a kind word from a stranger, I jot it down and toss it into the jar. At the end of the year, I sit down with a cup of tea and read through all those little notes. Some are funny, some are poignant, and others are downright surprising because I'd forgotten they happened. But every single one reminds me of the richness of my life, even during days when I felt like nothing special was going on. This practice has taught me that happiness isn't always about big milestones. Sometimes, it's about noticing the tiny threads of joy woven into the fabric of everyday life. You don't need a fancy jar or a specific ritual to reflect. It's more about creating space to think. Maybe it's during your morning coffee, when the house is still quiet, or perhaps it's before bed, as you wind down for the night. Ask yourself questions like, what made me smile today? Or what did I learn this week? These prompts encourage you to focus on the positives and recognize patterns that bring you fulfillment. Over time, you'll start to see what truly matters to you and where your sources of happiness lie. Reflection helps us live intentionally, making choices that align with our values and priorities. Another powerful way to incorporate reflection is by sharing stories. As we grow older, we accumulate a wealth of experiences, lessons, and memories that shape who we are. Sharing these stories with others, whether it's family, friends, or even strangers, can be incredibly rewarding. Not only does it strengthen connections, but it also reinforces your own sense of identity and purpose. Have you ever noticed how animated people become when they talk about their past adventures, career highlights, or cherished traditions? There's a spark in their eyes, a vitality that comes from reliving those moments. If you haven't already, consider writing down some of your favorite stories or recording them for future generations. You might be surprised at how much joy it brings, not just to you, but to those who hear them. Now, let's circle back to the idea of mindfulness, which we touched on earlier. Reflection and mindfulness go hand in hand because both involve being present with your thoughts and emotions. While mindfulness asks us to focus on the now, reflection invites us to appreciate the then, and together, they create a balanced perspective on life. By combining these practices, you can cultivate a deeper awareness of the beauty in every stage of your journey, from the highs to the lows. After all, happiness isn't about avoiding difficult times. It's about finding meaning and growth within them. As we near the end of our conversation, I want to leave you with a gentle reminder. Happiness isn't something you find waiting for you at the finish line of life. It's something you create along the way, moment by moment, choice by choice. The habits we've discussed today, practicing gratitude, nurturing connections, embracing mindfulness, staying active, exploring hobbies, and reflecting on your experiences, are tools you can use to build a life filled with joy and contentment. They're not quick fixes or magic solutions, but rather small, intentional steps that add up over time. Remember, it's okay to take things slowly. You don't have to overhaul your entire routine overnight. Start with one habit that resonates with you, whether it's jotting down 3 things you're grateful for each day or taking a 5-minute walk around the block. Celebrate the progress, no matter how small, and trust that these efforts will ripple outward, enriching your life in ways you may not immediately see. I'd love to hear from you. What brings you happiness in your everyday moments? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'm sure others would benefit from hearing your insights. And if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more content designed to inspire and support you. Together, we can continue exploring ways to live our best lives at any age. Here's to finding joy in the ordinary, celebrating the extraordinary, and cherishing every step of the journey. Thank you for joining me today, and remember, happiness is always within reach. You just have to open your heart to it.